All right, YouTube, bear with me here. As you can see, this is a brand new setup. I'm actually in a second floor conference room at the NBC Sports Studios, but I'm trying out the remote setup. And I have something that came out actually last night that a lot of people latched onto today. I wanted to talk about it. There's obviously been some other things circulating with the Oakland A's baseball team, the injury to Chris Bassett, all that news. But I also feel like this is very important. It's a document from Oakland City Council giving some more information about potential progress that's been made with the Howard Terminal Ballpark project. Now, this is not to say any of this has come from the Oakland A's, has been confirmed by the Oakland A's. Let's be very clear about that. They've actually been quite quiet about things that are developing right now, maybe or maybe not. And again, that's probably part of just the overall process of things and the timeline of things and what's expected to come. But as for this document, it's very interesting. I'll just read it to you here. On July 20th, the council approved a non-binding term sheet outlining the key terms to be included in a development agreement between the City of Oakland and the Oakland A's for the waterfront ballpark district at Howard Terminal. Please read further for questions and answers about what this means. You also may visit FAQs for additional information. But here it's spelled out here. And the headline is a bit misleading because Oakland City Council, yeah, they did approve this non-binding agreement back on July 20th. They voted 6-1, yes, in favor of that. But I will get to a paragraph here that really is going to catch your eye in just a second. What key terms included? What are the key terms included in the term sheet and the resolution? Ballpark costs, that the A's will privately finance the construction, operation, and maintenance of the ballpark. That's always kind of been the way it's understood. On-site infrastructure. The A's will pay upfront costs of all on-site infrastructure, such as roads, sewer, water, and electrical lines, as well as affordable housing, parks, and open space. Again, that was something that was spelled out from the very beginning. It was a different way of it happening with 2 IFDs versus the one that the Oakland City Council has proposed, and that's laid out next here. Infrastructure Financing District. The city and Alameda County, if the Board of Supervisors decide to opt in. And by the way, that is expected to be known in September. I'm not sure if it's early or late September, but that will be addressed by Alameda County, whether they will get in on the IFD part of this as well. But anyway, we'll establish a single IFD covering only the Howard Terminal site. An IFD is a financial tool that allows the city and county, potentially, to invest their but-for or net new property taxes. Just to simplify this, these are the property taxes that would only exist because of the Howard Terminal Ballpark that would be captured to repay the A's for infrastructure costs. Up to 80% of the IFD proceeds would be used to reimburse the A's for their upfront investment in on-site infrastructure. The remaining 20% of the IFD proceeds would be dedicated to implementing displacement prevention strategies off-site. And that goes to the whole affordable housing and trying to maintain the neighborhood part of this agreement. Off-site transportation infrastructure investment. The total projected cost of off-site transportation improvements is approximately $352 million. We've always known that number existed, and there's that gap. This infrastructure investment will catalyze long-needed improvements in the Jack London District, downtown, Chinatown, Old Oakland, West Oakland, and facilitate the safe and efficient movement of people and goods around and to the waterfront. The A's will not be responsible for these costs. We learned that already recently, which is good. It just helps make this thing happen. But we'll actively work with the city to pursue local, regional, state, federal, and other funds to cover these costs. And you have heard recently that there are some developments, some specific money that even the state of California has laid out for infrastructure improvements, specifically at the Port of Oakland, specifically to go right next to a project like the Howard Terminal Ballpark. Vested rights. The A's will have vested rights to develop the project as set forth in the development agreement and other project approvals for the full term of the development agreement. During this period, the city cannot limit, change, or delay the project or increase developer obligations. There are exceptions for public health and to implement new federal or state laws, building and fire codes, or city infrastructure standards. Basically, once this is agreed on, the A's can do their thing with it. Timing, the development agreement will have a term of 35 years. Construction on the ballpark must start by 2025 or no more than 4 years after any litigation is resolved, but in any event, no later than 2028. We had seen that information out before. So again, that's a bit of a repeat. The port turning basin, in its agreement with the A's, the port has reserved certain portions of the project site for a potential future expansion of the inner harbor turning basin. This is the area of the estuary, kind of a little bit west of where the ballpark will be. And just to make sure that if they ever need to expand that so bigger ships can turn around, because right now it's not big enough for the largest container ships. What it's basically being said here is that this area will be reserved so that if it needs to be expanded, if part of the project needs to be cut down, this is one of the concessions that the A's talked about making. If the port exercises those rights, the development agreement would terminate as to those lands reclaimed by the port. Affordable housing. This was something that wasn't necessarily eye to eye at first. I think, they've gotten closer here. The project will target 35% affordability using on-site and off-site strategies. On-site, 15% of units will be affordable. Off-site, a $50 million fund will be established to implement strategies to prevent existing residents in the area from being displaced due to rising housing costs. Talks about the way this will be used. 20% of the 3,000 on-site units. The project will also provide anti-displacement tenant services in the 4 impacted neighborhoods. Talks about jobs as well here. The community fund is something that's a long paragraph, which I'll get to in just a second, but let me go right past phasing. I know we've talked a lot about details. You're saying, what's the paragraph that stands out? It's this. A question posed on this document. So the city and the A's are in agreement on the project's final plan. And this is what the city says. The city and the A's are in agreement on nearly all of the terms approved by the council on July 20th, 2021. Let me repeat that. This is from the city. Again, this has not been confirmed by the A's. This is the city saying that they and the A's are in agreement on nearly all of the terms approved by the council. That was the 6-1 yes vote on July 20th, 2021. Limited differences remain between the parties with regard to how to fund the community fund, which is right up here. And by the way, I'll link to this document. In fact, I think I already did link to this document on the video. Where is it here? Oh, community fund. There it is. Sorry, I skipped past it. But here's what it says. A community fund will be established and maintained over the 66-year life of the A's lease with the port. The fund will consist of a number of revenue sources, including the port's social justice trust fund for workplace development, a set aside from the IFD for offsite anti-displacement strategies, a 0.75% transfer fee on all condo sales on the project site, and payments in lieu of the developer's transportation impact fees. Again, it goes into some pretty high-level detail there, but the point is, let me go back to this, and it talks about phasing and how this thing will be built out. This seems to be a huge development in everything, if in fact it's completely accurate. And it brings us to the next steps. What are the next steps in the approval process? With a non-binding term sheet now approved by the city council, the city and the A's will move on to drafting and negotiating the development agreement. The development agreement, together with a final environmental impact report, and by the way, that's also huge, that should be out soon, and several other planning approvals required for the project will be forwarded to the Planning Commission and City Council for consideration, beginning with the design review in September of 2021. Yeah, that's next month. And likely concluding in early 2022. Around that time, the Port Board will also consider an option agreement and a master lease with the A's. Also in fall 2021, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors is expected to consider whether to opt in to the IFD. Again, that was September. I watched all, 5 hours of that meeting back in early to mid-June. It really did seem like Alameda County was only waiting to see what the City of Oakland thought about the proposal, what they were going to do with it. They moved forward on it. That helps now the County of Alameda move forward on it. If the city's in, the county's in, the A's are in, and the environmental impact report turns out to be productive, to go along with this, again, take it for what it's worth. It's from the city. The A's have not commented on this yet. They've not confirmed it or denied it or said anything about it. So we'll be interested to see, the other side of it. But man, that's something that you could gloss over. Look at this whole document. And again, I read most of it, but just that one paragraph, Says a lot. Says a lot of good things. So I'll tell you what, I am going to conclude the video if it's actually possible. And while I do it, again, I'm here in the, let me show it to you one more time. I'm here in a conference room, second floor of NBC Sports. So this has been a whole new setup for me. Nope, that's not the right one, Brazil. That is. If you're here and you like this type of content and you want to help me grow out the YouTube channel, that would be much appreciated. This is a platform I've really been working on to try and make it a place for you and I to have these conversations, to talk deeper about stuff like this. So if you would, consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. Thumbs up on this video if you actually liked it. And yeah, a couple more remote videos just like this while I'm at work are probably coming your way in the near future. All right, until then, be safe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.